Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Plante. Yeah, we have a new show today. Actually, a brand new show. It's about food trucks. It's about food trailers. It's about food carts. It's about you. You may have the dream to start in this business. You may have lots of experience that you want to share. That's what we're doing here. So please, guys, if you're around, don't hesitate to comment live to what we're going to do. Ask questions, and yeah, so you're going to help us to make this hopefully a show that we can have weekly. I hope. Lots of people told me that on Tuesday night it's probably the best day. You're working a lot on the weekends. You want to take your Monday off. I get it. So Tuesday, perfect, and you're getting ready for the end of the week and to score big time on the weekend. Today, we have a guest, and that's what we want to have every on every show, to have a new guest, new business. Each week that have a different way of seeing how to do it that can help you on different topics. So here's Jaron. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good, good. So Jaron is from I think I have the logo here. Yeah, CulverCreek Trading Company. Nice trailer, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys do. You're in Missouri.
Yeah, we're in Southwest Missouri. Yep.
Okay. But you do a special kind of barbecue that I'm Canadian, so I'm not aware.
Okay.
I know Louisiana barbecue, Texas barbecue, St. Louis, but you do different kind of barbecue.
Yeah, we call it Oklahoma style barbecue. Most
what
people
is it?
ask us what that is because
Yeah.
it's not a regional term that's known very well. Everybody knows the Carolinas, the Kansas Cities, and the Texases, of course.
Yeah.
What most people think of when we think Oklahoma style barbecue is it's kind of a blending of all of it. So we do the large roast meats. You see the pulled pork. You see we do a chuck roast, so a Texas chuck roast. You see sauces, but they're not an overwhelming sticky sweet or even a vinegar-based heavy
Okay.
sauce like you see in a lot of barbecue.
Mhm.
It's kind of in the middle. They're accompanying sauces, more of that classical cuisine where you take a good quality meat and just boost it with a little extra flavor, but not anything overpowering. Still your classic heavy, big smoked meats, good vinegar with a little sweet to it. Good barbecue.
So you do like all your classics, like brisket,
Yes.
pulled
So
pork.
on the truck we carry 5 meats right now. We do a pulled pork, we do a smoked chuck roast, we do hot links, we do a smoked bologna, which is kind of an Oklahoma delicacy,
Okay.
and then we do chicken thighs, bone-in chicken thighs. So that really rounds out most of the meats that we do on the truck.
Okay. Tell me, like the first question that comes to mind when I speak to people like you guys working with meat. I have a donut truck, so
Okay.
my losses are close to this. I make the dough every time I need to make some donuts, and if it rains, no dough. But you guys, you have to pre-cook. It's like low and
Yeah.
slow, and it takes hours and hours. So you have to expect when you do an event, you have to expect. Okay, today I'm going to serve 200, something like that. How do you do that?
You know, experience is a lot of it.
Mhm.
You learn as you go, but that's a very good point. And we have this conversation a lot on a couple groups that I'm with, several of the other food trucks I work with, that my goal every day is to sell out. I have
Yeah.
to. That is the purpose of my entire event. And it's a different world than what most people do in the food truck business. But yeah, you're exactly right. We cook meat overnight, 10 to 12 hours. I try to guess on as close as I can, not only to how many people I'm going to serve, but what they're going to buy. And there's days that, we run out of pulled pork in an hour and a half, and I have 4 other meats that we start making deals and specials and stuff on because it is a game, and it's a lot of my business is based on that gamble.
And you have to rotate.
Oh,
Of
sure.
course.
Yeah.
When you do like a trailer, like you do, what kind of events? What do you do? Like festival?
So most of our business right now, which I do some other stuff in the food industry too. So the trailer's a part-time gig. We run Fridays and Saturdays. I do a lot of lunch service, a lot of 11 to 2, 11 to 3s, those kind of days. It helps to make those guesses a little bit better. We do some large events. I work with a farmers market here locally that we work one Tuesday night out of the month. We do a couple festivals and stuff around, but most of my business is an 11 to 2 kind of lunch hour thing on weekends.
Would you when you do like multi-day events? Of course, you will cook your meat on premises.
No, actually, I own a catering facility here just north of town.
Okay,
And we cook most of our meats overnight.
that you would use as your commissary.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the trailer, really, we built the trailer out ourselves. It's pretty basic. It's a very vendorship kind of trailer. It basically is steam tables and catering containers. And a couple refrigerators. So there's not really any cooking on my truck. There's no hood vents, no fire suppression, anything like that, which makes it nice and kind of takes care of the overhead side. All of that process is done in the restaurant, and then we carry, and basically my trailer's for serving, hot hold, and taking care of that.
Okay. Excuse me. I see people that they say they have issue with the sound. Randy said they cannot hear you, Stephen, which is strange because I can hear you. So if there's other people on the chat, I'll write while you keep on explaining.
Okay.
But
I can boost a little bit, but I got you fine too. So,
but it cracks a little bit. Maybe
okay.
If you go a little bit lower, maybe, or your bit rate, or I don't know what you're setting.
Yeah, let me go look here real quick. Does that make it any better there?
We'll see.
We'll see. All right.
Okay. 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 Mickey says that he can hear just fine. Excellent. Okay. Okay. Greg can hear us just fine also. Excellent. So, okay. So what's the basic, what's a normal day for you? How do you start? How do you, what's it like? What's it like? You start early in the morning, I guess, or the night before, because you have to cook your meat and smoke and everything the day before, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. So the night before, we do a lot of our bulk meat prep. That's the pork and the beef. Those will cook 8 to 10 hours overnight, and then are in a commercial oven, and they're hot held. Basically, my day starts around 5:30 or 6 a.m.
Okay.
My commissary kitchen's about 30 minutes out of town for me. So there's a little bit of travel time there. Any last minute groceries, fresh produce, things like that, cabbage for coleslaw, onions for some garnishment, that kind of stuff is purchased the day of. And then I spend about 3 to 4 hours just prepping and loading my truck for the day. I try to get to my spot or my area, wherever I'm heading the event, an hour before time. That gives me time to get steam tables hot and things like that.
Yeah.
Going, drinks cooled down, those kind of things. So pretty much I start at 5:30, and I'm cooking or prepping chicken, hot links, bologna, making beans, making coleslaws, potato salads, that kind of stuff. And then physically stocking paper goods, drink products, icing down, things like that, from 6 to about 9. And then I'm back on the road driving to my destination, trying to get set up by 11.
Okay, to be ready. Would you do like the two normally on those events? Do you do like larger events like festivals, big concerts and stuff like that?
I do some. We've done some 4th of July events that are relatively large. I've done some shooting tournaments here in the Midwest, some skeet shooting or sport clays type stuff that were relatively large. I don't do a lot of that, but we have done a few.
So some that you would work at noon, and you would work also during the night.
My longest days probably so far, I try to keep around that 6 hour, probably maximum
At the most.
Yeah, a lot of that is just due to the barbecue nature that I'm in.
What do you mean?
Well, when I'm not cooking on the truck, I have very tight guidelines of holding meat, not only for health reasons. Obviously that's a concern, you have your
quality concern.
But yeah, you start to have drying out issues and quality concerns just holding meat in a steam table.
Okay, so you won't have like people bringing you meat from during the day.
Nope, just me.
Just
That'd be nice.
Okay, so does it happen often that you, of course, the weather you cannot predict, but that you take heavy losses?
It's not too bad. Obviously, the weather does play into it a little bit. but I still have some control over what I take with me on a truck. So if I were to cook, 150 pounds of meat tonight, I don't necessarily have to take all that tomorrow. I do get one reheat process out of that.
Yeah.
So I can play it a little bit through the weekend. And then it's just understanding weather patterns and paying attention to what's going on. And, typically rain, most food trucks would tell you is kind of detrimental, and it brings you down pretty quick.
Yeah.
So if you're going into a weekend, Friday and Saturday are 80% thunderstorms all weekend, you just know I'm not going to sell that much, cut it down quite a bit. And you'd rather sell less than lose more, I guess is kind of how I think of it.
So to the people that are listening to us that don't already own a truck or trailer, what's the first thing? Because I know for the people, I didn't present you this way, but you're having a series, you're building a series on YouTube about how to start your food truck or your mobile food business, how to price your menu and stuff like that, which is really interesting. And I'll send you guys the link after the show. But tell me, what's the first thing that comes to mind that when you want to start? What do you need to do?
Actually, I'm working with a guy right now in Washington State that's trying to open kind of a seafood or a Cajun idea. And my first recommendation to him is understand food safety. I think that's the most imperative thing that a lot of people that aren't in the restaurant business just don't understand. Yeah. And it's not anything against them. You just, when you're starting a new career, you don't think of the legal side of things. But you can spend a fortune in this industry trying to build a food truck and plan a menu and do all the graphic design and pay that stuff out, and then find out you can't get licensed because you're in over your head and you're not really sure how the business side of things work. So the first thing I always recommend is, one, look into a ServSafe, look into an FSP, something like that teaches you the fundamentals of food safety and food handling. After that, talk to health departments. Food trucks are growing. It's a fun industry. It's building. It's getting crazy. But that being said, there's still a lot of cities and municipalities out there that either don't allow them, don't know how to regulate them, don't understand them. There's a lot of that. And if you're really into doing the food truck side and want to do the mobile food, you may have to fight some battles with legislation and those kind of things. So getting that done early makes it a lot easier to take care of the business when you get there.
Yeah.
I know when we started, and I've been in the food industry, this will be my 16th year, I believe. Lots of chain restaurants, lots of management opportunities, lots of chef stuff, lots of front of house stuff, associates in restaurant management, a good fundamental education. It was still, we went to the health department and we said, this is what I want to do. How do we do it? What do I need from you? What
Tell
do
me
you
the
need
path.
from me? We gotta work together to make this happen. And I don't think a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in this industry that start the food truck because they haven't been in a restaurant. And it seems like an easier path, but I'm not sure it always is. No. I think it actually can be quite more difficult. Yes. So I think that's the first thing, is to get the ground information of, the safety side, the handling side, the legislation side, and then go into the food process.
How do you pick your events? Where you go? Do you always go like year after year the same events to be where you can build your clientele, your name?
I wish I could answer that question for you, but I've only been in business for 10 months now.
Okay.
So we basically try to keep as consistent as we can in our lunch service. So I typically am Friday and Saturday the same place that I can be the same hours as much as possible. In that area, we start to get people who call us and say, hey, we want you at this event. Can you do it? We want you at this brewery. We want you to do this idea. What do you think about this fundraiser, etc.? And then it just really becomes part of guessing game.
Yeah.
And part of gamble and we explain this to a lot of our clients that want us to come to their events and do things. It has to be better than what I'm already doing for my regular guest. So if I'm serving $500 on average, and I'm just picking that number, on a Friday afternoon for lunch, and you come to me and say, hey, Friday, we want you to come serve lunch at our manufacturing facility, I need some sort of a guarantee or know that we can do $500. Or at least build something there that makes it worth telling my regulars that come and see me every week,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there Friday because I got something else going on.
So
there's a little bit of that game into it.
So you have more of a food truck mentality than a food trailer that do only festivals and events. So you'd go to places like offices.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So for us, we've been catering now, and that was my main business and still is, for almost 4 years.
Okay.
Which is the reason we bought the commissary kitchen and that stuff. The food truck, the commissary kitchen that I have is out of Joplin where I live, 30 minutes, like I said, about 24 miles, in a town of about 300 people. Very rural, old mining town, kind of out on the outskirts. And what we got was a lot of people wanted us to open the restaurant. Well, opening a restaurant in a town of 300 people, 30 minutes outside the metro, has its challenges.
Yeah.
And not really something that we wanted to dive into and try to make that work. So what the food truck allowed us to do is, once the catering stuff got stable enough for us to take our food that we like to serve, the general barbecue, the mentality that we had, and take it to the general public.
Okay.
So it gives me the restaurant, but I have a manipulatable restaurant that I can move around to where I want to take it. I can change the menu as I need to. The overhead's a lot less with, wait staff and things like that. It really became, we cater, but if you don't have 150 people, come see me on Friday for lunch.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so it's like a, how do you say that in English? A complement of, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it was good for you actually to have the catering business. So it was less of a risk.
Absolutely.
To start the food truck. Yeah. The food trailer. Yeah.
And it's still probably 2/3 of my yearly sales is catering.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we're getting ready to go into a football season here, American football, where we, I cater a lot, doing post-game meals and taking care of a local university and that kind of stuff. So the food truck actually becomes second hand to the catering business at this time of the year, which is really kind of a neat play that I never thought when we started, that the catering season throughout the winter, with holiday parties and that kind of stuff, your weddings in the spring, I do a lot of fall football stuff. The summer was really the time that I wasn't catering. Not a lot of office parties and things are going on in the summertime. You don't see as much.
So you can turn things around and work in the summer a lot.
The food truck is amazing in the summer and covers that kind of the expenses. Whereas in December, a Friday food truck lunch when it's 20 degrees outside and snowing, that business drops off quite a bit. So it actually plays back and forth with it.
So I get it, because with I'm near Montreal, Canada, and with my wife, like we own a bistro in a sports center, like in close to Montreal. Okay. But actually, it's true. In the summer, clientele goes down. So we were looking for a way to make some business during the summer, and good business, while it was going slow in the at the bistro. And actually, it's the same thing than you. Actually, I think it's a good idea. And I don't know if there's any other people that are listening to us that have the same the same setup and share the same mentality about the business. Maybe it's a good thing to have both catering or bistro or a small restaurant, and in the summer do this kind of business.
I think it is, and it's really been beneficial for us.
Sense.
And we've actually gotten to the point now, like I said, we're just in our first year of being open with the food truck. We opened last November, and we did okay through the wintertime doing some commercial stuff, manufacturing stuff, industrial plants, those kind of things. But we've actually started to think, what happens to the food truck now that I don't have to have it open? Does it stay open through the winter? Or do we cut that loss and kind of do a grand opening in the spring again and just focus on catering for the next 3 months, so that we're already in those kind of discussions and what we want to do moving forward through the next couple months.
Yeah, because you guys have Canadian winters.
It's not quite that bad, but every now and then it gets there.
Yeah. So
we definitely have had our share. Well, I used to tell people I moved to Kansas City when I went to school, and they got snow all the time, and everybody just went fiasco because there was snow everywhere. And I was like, well, Southwest Missouri, we get ice, and that's a whole lot worse. So I don't know how bad the Canadian winters are. I know they're very cold.
You don't want to know.
But when we get ice, it pretty much shuts us down too. So
but then so in the winter, it's you just close it. You hibernate.
We might. I'm not sure yet. We're still deciding.
Because then, the football season goes to January and February. So yeah.
That's kind of what's fun about the food truck business is you get you are running a restaurant concept, and there are things that are difficult. There's the guessing game of how much I'm going to sell. There's, what happens when you get a flat tire on the way to an event. There's all those kind of issues. But still, how many people can look at, an $850,000 brick and mortar and say, you know what, I'm going to close for 3 months. Yeah. I mean, you don't get those kind of options like you can in a food truck where your overhead's so much lower.
You think so? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So what's people ask me all the time, how much should I invest? Of course, it's different if you had a donut truck, if you do a shave ice, but if you're working like what you do with meat, barbecue and stuff like that, what people can expect to invest to start a business and to say, okay, I'm ready now?
Man, I don't know how you figure that number. I didn't really think about that before we started. Yeah. We've been very fortunate. When I started the catering company, we did it for family and friends to start with, like anybody would. And we always split the money. It's my father and I that are in business, and we would split the money 3 ways. Third for me, third for him, a third went back into the company to buy tools, supplies, whatever we needed, and have a little bit of cash. When we bought the building, because we were starting to cater stuff enough that we needed to do this full time or walk away, we purchased a building. And that was really the first time that we took on any kind of financial obligation at all, which was a scary moment. So I think since then we've built this thing from the ground up. Even the trailer was saved up until we could afford to invest in the trailer. I built out all the inside of it myself. We kind of saved a lot of money there. We still don't have a lot invested in it. Now, granted, building a trailer that carries 2 steam tables and a refrigerator was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Building
because
out
most of the big equipment is at your restaurant.
Building out a trailer that you want to cook in with a $7,000 hood system and $13,000 grill and an oven and everything else,
plus the insurance that go with it.
All that kind of stuff. Obviously takes a little bit bigger chunk, depending on whether you're renting a commissary or you need to buy that, if that's even available in the area that you're in. All those kind of things come in play. I think it really just depends on the individual business setup. And I don't find it any different in the restaurant business. I mean, you can watch every chain restaurant put up $2.6 million restaurants, but you could build one probably for $40,000, $50,000 and you could survive.
So and a lot of people on the social networks, and I've seen that a lot before going into brick and mortar. I'd rather start with a food truck or food trailer.
Yeah,
just to test the waters, to see if you have if it's for you.
Sure.
Yeah,
and I would 100% recommend, and this isn't to deter anyone, but if you've never worked in the food industry. You probably should before you decide that you want to own something in the food industry. It is completely different than anything else. I've been in this business since I was 15, and I really started because somebody told me not to, and I kind of took it as a challenge. But it takes a certain kind of crazy. It's a chaos business. It's a stressful business. If you're good at it and have that personality, you can be really good at it. But it's a different animal. And just
what's the main quality from an individual to be in this business, you think?
One of the things that I really have thought has helped me a lot is this is one of those industries where every day is a new day. So to me, you have bad days at work, and everybody does. In the restaurant business, those bad days can be bad and good and bad and good and bad and good all day long. And the ability to shake things off and just start over again. If you have a bad day, to come in the next day with a positive attitude again. Things are going to go wrong in restaurants, and probably more than they do in most areas. It's unlikely that if you work in retail, you're going to light t-shirts on fire and fire extinguishers are going to go off and water mains are going to break and drains are going to back up, and those kind of things happen every day.
Poo-poo happens all the time.
I work in a steakhouse as well, as if I don't have enough to do. And there's days that you run out of a certain kind of steak, which it's hard to run a steakhouse without steaks, but those things happen. So the more resilient, I guess, you are is a good quality. And I think that's really helped me a lot.
do you need a special something with the client in order, because you're working with stock? So I come to your place, I'm expecting, I guess, ribs, I'm expecting brisket, and you don't have any more. So you have to negotiate with the client and say, okay, try my try the
I
chicken.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's more in small business.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I have a lot of people, actually, I was just talking to a gentleman a couple hours ago that asked if I ever wanted to open a restaurant. And to me, I don't. I really like the one-on-one nature of the small business and the food truck. Um, I have the ability as the owner, the chef, the server, the counter staff, all of it, to be able to go out of my way to make people happy. So when you have those mistakes or you have those issues that happen, I feel like my tool bag or my arsenal is a lot bigger to be able to overcome those things, where I do at my day job working in a steakhouse where I have to follow the corporate mindset and do those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's often times where we'll run out of, you know, I'll be selling out at the end of the day, maybe have, 20 minutes left or something, and somebody comes up and all I have is pork sandwiches.
Yeah.
I'm out of all the other four meats. Well, I really wanted beef nachos. Okay, I'll sell you a pork sandwich for half off. How about that? Tell you what, I'll throw in two and you can take one home for later.
Yeah.
You don't get those kind of leniencies when you work in a full service restaurant for someone else.
And people they like the one that are not already in the business, they probably don't know that, but people are expecting that from you. Like they're okay with that.
Yeah,
they're okay. It's a food truck. They expect you to not have the full menu all the time.
sure.
Yeah. So I saw one of your video, and you were talking about how you price your food, and actually it surprised me because you price it the same way than in a restaurant. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
So 1/3
For the most
for
part.
the food cost, and 2/3 for the all the expenses, and to give you
Yeah,
a
so
small salary.
pretty textbook, at least up until the time I graduated, and still for the most part. A lot of chain restaurants do some different things with inventories and how they cost things, and but for the most part, in a small restaurant, 30% of your cost is going directly to food. It gets a little different depending on menu. Some of mine are a little bit higher just because of beef prices and limited menu items and being in a high cost environment like barbecue is. Seafood restaurants, you typically see a little bit higher. They may be 40 or 50. Steakhouses are the kind, I mean, if you're selling nothing but fillets, obviously there's a little bit higher cost there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the ballpark is 30%. Labor is somewhere around 20, and that leaves the rest to pay for everything else, hopefully.
What do you?
I think a lot of people don't realize. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
And you run into it a lot in food trucks, because you'll run into an event and they'll tell you, well, we want 10% of sales as your vendor fee. Well, 10% of sales isn't going to be profit. There's no way in this industry. Even if you look at the major restaurant concepts that are out there, they're turning a 2-3% profit maybe, and those are for good quarters. So there's a difference between 10% of profit and 10% of sales. And this truly is and always has been a nickel and dime industry.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of overhead to produce what we do. And you run into those issues as a business owner and trying to explain that to people that, I don't make 10%, so I'm not going to give you 10%.
Nah, I get it. Would you sometimes use like to bring people, because of course you have to be competitive. There's other vendors, there's other food truck and trailers, so you have to differentiate what you're doing. How would you do it? Would you put like raise your price, put your price a little bit down, have a loss leader? How would you negotiate that?
So, wow, loss leader, that's a term I haven't heard in a while. So for us, we do a couple things. When I first started the food truck idea, my sister was one of those that went to a lot of events and did a lot of festivals and things like that. And she had a couple complaints that when you went to a food truck event or a festival, you went to 4 or 5 food trucks. You stood in line for 20 minutes at each one. You got a side here, some kind of specialty drink there, a sandwich here. By the time you sat down, you spent $40 and everything was cold.
Yeah.
So when we started the food truck, we decided we're going to be the one-stop shop. When you come to my truck, you get whatever your meal is, a nacho, potatoes, sandwiches, baskets, whatever it may be, automatically comes with a side, automatically comes with a drink. We do add-on sides and drinks at a ridiculously cheap price. I don't want you to have to come see me and still go see somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that really sets us above. The other thing is, and we get into this a lot in the area, there's probably...
So excuse me, you
go ahead.
always sell a combo.
Always.
Always.
Yep. Okay. Everything comes together.
Including the drink.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is a canned soda or a bottle of water.
Okay.
The other thing that sets us apart, and there's probably 3 or 4 other barbecue trucks in our area that serve your standard, like you said, the Kansas City, the Memphis, the brisket sandwich, the Carolina pulled pork, the half slab of ribs, those kind of things, which we don't knock at all. But what I do, and people who are on our Facebook page or go check us out, you'll see a lot of imagery. I do pretty big, pretty extensive sandwiches. We do a lot of flavor. So our main sellers right now, I've got a ranch house sandwich that's it's a bone-in chicken thigh that we pulled the bone out of. So a full chicken thigh sandwich with crispy onion straws, a pepper jack cheese sauce, our house-made barbecue sauce, all on a giant onion Kaiser roll. You don't find that at another barbecue place.
That's it, yeah.
And I actually just got in a conversation with an event vendor that said, we don't want to double up barbecue trucks. If you bring me, you're probably not doubling up what I do. There may be 2 barbecue trucks, don't get me wrong, but I guarantee you my menu is completely different from what they're serving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so we've tried to go, I have a classically trained French-American college degree in culinary cooking. And I try to use those fundamentals in the barbecue world to create things that people haven't seen before.
So how do you handle the competition? Because sometimes you'll have other barbecue trucks, like you just said.
We welcome it. I love competition. And I don't say that in a
corny way.
No, not even in like a competitive way.
Uh-huh.
I like the fact that this industry is progressing the way that it is. I'm never scared to pull up into another place with other barbecue trucks. I'm never scared to show up with 27 other trucks. I think it helps. The more variety, the more stuff that's out there, the more the general public gets a taste of food trucks.
Mm.
And I think, and still today, I think there are hundreds of people that drive past my trailer every day that think I'm not eating food from a trailer. It's just an uncomfortable feeling. And I understand.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. And I think that's getting better day by day just because it's becoming so more of a regular thing.
Do you mean that on the street of the city or when you're at an event? Because when you're at an event, there's no choice. There's no other choice. There's no restaurant.
Sure. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's more on the street.
Okay. So in your neighborhood, they would allow you to sell on the street, which they don't.
They do not here.
Oh, okay.
But we do a lot of parking lot stuff.
Okay.
So, for instance, like my Friday spot is in a parking lot just off of one of the main streets.
Okay. So you can.
So yes, you can sell to the general public. You just can't be on the public street.
Okay, I get it. So there's always
cities and legalists. Yeah.
Okay. And would you do like most of your business this way, or
yes?
Yep. Okay. So
most of it I do that way. Yep.
So what is your business exactly? Like how many days a week would you work on your food truck?
So the food truck is 2 days a week right now. Through most of the winter, we ran 4. We did a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Once the weather got better, April or May, we went to just a Friday and Saturday and extended hours. So I did 11 to 2 throughout the winter. And then when we changed, I basically took 4 days of doing 11 to 2 and turned them into 2 days doing 11 to 7. So obviously more general public out in the summer, school's out, people at the parks, sports stuff going on, all that. So we kind of moved it to get more general public on Saturdays than doing just the working lunch Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
So Mark is asking, do you have a truck or trailer? I'm gonna.
We do a trailer.
Yeah, I'm gonna show the trailer. Hey, voilà.
That is her.
Mm-hmm. It's a beauty. It's like what, 15 feet? No, more than that.
The trailer is 18 feet.
18, eh? Okay, so it's more than enough because you're not cooking there. You just have the you just reheat there.
Half of it is taken up by the 3-compartment sink that is necessary.
Of course. Yeah.
So all those
Okay.
kind of things playing. Yeah.
Okay, so it's mainly fridge, prep tables, and stuff like that.
There's a deep freezer that runs as a really low refrigerator. There's a prep table that's got about 6 compartments in the top of it, which has cold sides, potato salads, coleslaws, and then all my garnishments, pickles, jalapenos, those kind of things. I normally run 2 to 3 steam tables, which contain beans and then all the meats. Yeah. And then I carry 2 catering transport containers, which will keep backups warm for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours.
So you won't carry like a refrigerated trailer
No,
side. There's no need yet.
No, it's all inside. Yeah.
Okay.
And the refrigerators can run while driving. Everything else comes on once we get stopped.
You told me the other time when you do events, you don't go too far from where you are because where you are, like you're in the border of 2 states.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need different permits. And,
Yeah. There's a couple reasons. That was kind of a fun video that I think was eye opening to a lot of people. So one being that I don't cook on the truck limits me a lot. Just
why that?
The time that I'm traveling is time that I'm holding food. So as soon as I load hot boxes, I start counting. And food has to stay at temperature. And it's just too much of a risk to say, hey, I'm going to drive 2 hours, knowing that very well in 2 hours, I may show up and only have 2 hours that I can serve.
Yeah.
It's a logistical nightmare that I'm not saying couldn't be done, but I just have no reason to do it right now. But yes, as you said, so Joplin is a metro of about 58,000 people. With quite a few suburbs around it. So the working daytime population grows to about 250,000. We are 8 miles from the Oklahoma border and probably 20-ish from the Arkansas border.
Okay.
The south side of Joplin, the metro area, is on a county line. So every county I'm in, every city I'm in that has a city health department, there's a state retail license. So if I go to Kansas, I have a state, I have a county, another city. So it just starts to add up. And it's nothing different from other people. I've got a buddy in Kansas City that runs 2 food trucks. And the Kansas City metro is made up of, 18 different suburbs that all have a health department. So he carries a lot of health permits. So for us, it goes back to that. I could go to Newton County. I could go to Oklahoma. But if I'm already doing it on Friday and making the money and I know what I'm going to sell and I'm covering my cost and I'm doing what I need to do, why invest the extra money to extend the business? Sorry. And for a while, you saw it a lot. Probably 10 years ago, there was kind of a restaurant bubble where restaurants just grew and built and franchised. I know Quiznos is one of the big ones that finally collapsed because they just overextended so much that you weren't making profits anymore.
There's so much you can do. People would have 1, 2, 3, 4 different restaurants in order to make a salary.
Yeah. And I think it's obviously not that scale. I'm not building multi-million-dollar restaurants across the entire United States and North America. But if I can make money and cover my bottom line and I'm doing well at the 2 locations I have, why would I move them and take on the gamble and do it again? Now, that's not to say there's not expansion room, and that's always a goal, but there's a point where you get overextended, I think.
Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years from now?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
You're still learning.
I think the catering company will always be there. I like the catering a lot. And I tell people, I really like catering a lot that I never thought I would. And I never worked commercially in catering at all. But what I like about it is it's easy in the restaurant business to serve the same menu every day to the same people. And eventually it gets very monotonous. Catering and our catering service is not just barbecue. We do anything you want to do. I've done Caribbean weddings, Italian weddings. I had a young lady bring me her grandmother's recipes that we scaled up for 300 people. We will literally, if you dream it, we'll try it. So it keeps the creativity and the freshness there where we can, have fun. Every day is a new day. Every day is a new challenge. And I like that side of it. So I think it'll always be there and probably always be the flagship. The trailer, I think the trailer will only grow. It's done very well for the last 10 months. We continue to change things and tweak things, but it continues to build and continues to surprise me every day. we'll walk into an event that I think there's no way we're going to sell anything here. And, you know, I'll have people, my regulars from Fridays, be driving 20 miles to come buy barbecue. So I think it will always grow. I don't know if I'll expand to another trailer or not. I really like the small business aspect of doing it all. Now, don't get me wrong, there's days that I get tired, but that control factor of knowing I know what's on the truck, I know it's all loaded, I know what's been cooked, I know what I have to sell, I know what I need to make. I like that. And I think there's a point where you start, if you're going to buy another trailer, somebody's got to run that trailer. Somebody's got to drive that trailer. You have another insurance liability. You have another employee that I got to babysit and watch. I think all those things start to add in. So I don't know if we'll ever do another trailer or not. We've got some other concepts and some other things that are working, being thought about.
In Montreal, we have lots of restaurants closing because they lack employees. It's really tough to find good employees. I guess is it the same thing at your place? I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And right now I don't have any because we don't need them. I pretty much run the truck by myself most of our days. Okay. If we're doing a large event, if we're doing a 4th of July or we do a farmer's market once a month, if it's something like that where I know there's going to be a good rush, my father will help me or a friend will help. But for the most part, I have no full-time.
You keep it with your people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why a trailer? Why not the truck?
Why not a truck? Here's my reason. Because we thought about it.
Yeah.
And I actually saw it come to fruition with my buddy in Kansas City. So anything can drive a trailer. So if your truck dies, if anything goes wrong,
you have a business
for the day.
Yeah.
At least the day. Until you can get something fixed. If something happens to my truck, I can find another truck. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing. The second thing is with my system being so transport, hot hold kind of deal, I don't need a lot. So we bought a cargo trailer. It took me about a month to retrofit it with plumbing and electrical, and it's there. So I don't need a $45,000 stainless steel equipped
van
truck that I can get done with a cargo trailer that didn't cost me much of an investment, gives me the chance to kind of learn the ropes and figure that kind of stuff out without, like I said, the huge investments.
So Mark was asking, did you buy the trailer setup?
So we ordered a trailer.
Yeah.
Because it kind of had an interesting thing. So most cargo trailers, at least in the United States, are sold with the cargo door is on the passenger side.
Yeah.
Which is okay. We wanted a window put in. So the window normally goes on the passenger side for curb service. And that's how most food trucks are built. Well, I didn't want both doors on the same side. So I had a trailer manufactured for us, which took 5 months, 6 months to put the cargo door, the RV style door on the driver's side and the window in on the passenger side. After we got that in, we built out the entire inside. So I put the floor in it. We painted all the walls with an acrylic paint so it's easily cleanable. I put all the plumbing in. We built the cabinets for the sinks, put all the sinks in, wired all the electrical. All that was done by us. And then we took it to a graphic shop to do the graphics.
Okay.
But that's pretty much all that's in it.
You said 3 sinks, but in many states it's 4.
We actually have 4. Yeah. 3 compartment sink. It rolls off the tongue.
Okay.
But we still have a hand sink as well. Yeah.
Because it's every health department have their own their own way of seeing things.
Yeah.
So where did you buy your trailer? Like the shell?
Came from a trailer manufacturer in Arkansas.
In Arkansas.
It's a covered wagon model. It's extra height. My father is 6'5", so we went ahead and bought the extra height trailer.
Yeah.
But it's a covered wagon, 18-foot cargo trailer with a ramp door.
Any AC?
We just added it in July. It does not help. So over the winter, everything was fine, obviously, except for humidity.
Yeah.
So when you're running steam tables in a closed environment and it's 20 degrees outside, the windows fog really bad, which was its own nightmare. Once summer hit, it was okay. have ventilation and some fans and stuff, and it was fine. When in Missouri, which I don't know if you're familiar with the weather here, it got up to heat indexes of 108 in the middle of July. With steam tables running, that makes it about 125. So we finally broke down after a large event and invested in an air conditioner that I installed myself. It does well at keeping the trailer the same temperature as outside. And that's about it. So on a 90-degree day, it's 90 degrees in the trailer. But
oh, really? And there's no other way, so you're going to need an AC.
No, that's with the AC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kitchen. It's hot.
Yeah.
Can't stay the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? Isn't that what they all say?
Mark is asking, you already answered it, but for the people, like the new people that came, you have a brick and mortar or just a place you cook all your food? So when we say brick and mortar, do you have, I know you do catering, but is it like also like a restaurant?
So I bought a diner.
Okay.
The diner's in Alba for those that are on the Facebook that know where we are. It was a diner that has been open forever. The original building was built in 1908. It's a 100-foot deep by 20-foot wide building. Has a walk-in cooler in it that they've added years later, and then kind of an offset kitchen that they've built into it. When we bought it, it had old-style fiberglass rotating booths, checkerboard tablecloths, the good diner stuff. And we were thinking, what the heck am I going to do with a diner? That's not the business I ever wanted to be in.
Why not?
So we, I don't know. That's just not my style.
Yeah.
So we got rid of all that, sold off what we could, scrapped the rest, and basically had this empty shell of an old tin ceiling brick building and thought, you could throw a heck of a party in this place.
Yeah.
So we opened it up and use it as an event center. It's
great.
a really kind of cool looking place. I don't know.
Yeah, is there because I can share a screen?
Yeah. So if you go, I guess I could share a screen too, can't I? Or is it just you?
No, I think it's just me.
Okay. If you go on Facebook to the Alba, ALBA Carriage House.
Okay.
You will find my building.
Okay.
I have a share screen button, but I'm not sure what would happen if I click it, so I'm not going to.
Carriage House Vineyard? No.
Should be the Alba Carriage House.
Carriage House Ministry.
Here, how about this? I can message it to you.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Okay.
There you go.
I'm gonna okay. Okay, I got it. Yeah, and I'm gonna share the screen with you guys.
And if you go to the photos, there should be all kinds of pictures inside and outside and past events.
Okay, so this is your share screen. Okay. This one here. There we go. Et voilà. Looks lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see the photos. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there. Now you can see the inside. So it's a pretty nice little place, little diamond in the rough, as they say.
Yeah.
But we can rent that out for about 50 people is where it starts to get a little crowded. And that's a holiday party from 2 years ago. But, if you've got a group of 20 or 30 people that are looking for a quiet place to do some kind of a dinner, it works out really well.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of food? Oh, nice car. What kind of food
we do all kinds of stuff. We've done steak dinners. I've done a lot of holiday buffets with smoked turkeys or hams, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful.
Really anything.
Yeah. So you can cater to like what, 100 something, 200?
Catering wise,
I mean, in the restaurant.
At the restaurant, we can do about 50 max.
Oh,
That's
50.
where it
Okay.
starts to get pretty crowded, pretty loud, with tile floors and tin ceilings.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people in there. It starts to get a little rambunctious, but.
And everybody was asking, how do you survive in the winter?
We started in the winter last year, so I think kind of the grand opening in the buzz kept us going pretty well. If I was giving it,
she's probably talking specifically about your food trailer.
Yeah. I think if I was giving advice to somebody who's doing a food truck in the winter, look for guaranteed type things, which I mean industrial parks, manufacturing facilities. We have a lot of call center type stuff here, customer service call centers.
Like you'd go there like once a week or something like that?
Yeah. Get in touch with them and say, hey, first Friday of every month, I'm going to come serve lunch in your parking lot.
Yeah.
Somewhere that has, hundreds of employees that may not have, an area around them to go eat.
And normally what's a typical phone call? How do you do it? Like you call the manager and
Sure. Yeah. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll make it just a public post on Facebook that says, hey, we're looking for some new locations.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to talk about their work.
So the employee put pressure on their boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I know I have my buddy in Kansas City does a lot of hospitals. He works with Children's Mercy a lot, where the nurses may not have, 10 minutes to drive somewhere to go eat lunch, but could run out.
And food in the hospital, it's terrible. Yeah.
Or they eat it every day, and it's the same thing every day.
Yeah.
So I know he does really well with that kind of stuff. So I think you have to adapt it. You need to think of who has to eat, who doesn't have time to eat, and where does that fit the relationship of both you and that employer.
Mm-hmm. And what's the minimum? You say call center and places like that. What's the minimum you have in your head of the size of the business? 50 employee,
I think that depends on whatever your break-even point is.
Okay.
A typical lunch day, I'm trying to serve 50 to 75 people. That's pretty small for most.
So at 50, you're starting to be happy.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah,
you're doing okay. Okay. And 50 is a decent number to obtain. I mean, it's not
that's not
complicated.
Hard. Yeah. And I think that number will grow over time. We could probably I can do 50 people an hour out of the truck. That's booking. That's a lot. But I've done it. We did a 4th of July here with the city, and there was probably 8 trucks for a 10,000 people event. Mm-hmm. And we did about 50 to 60 an hour. That's a meal a minute. And that's pretty cruising. I don't know that I'd ever get more than that. So if you're talking, a 3 or 4 hour lunch, 150 to 200 people, that's max.
Would you say, like in my donut business, speed is the name of the game? Like everything is speed. You have to work and you have to serve the people because they all come at the same time, and you have to serve them fast.
I think so, but I come from a chain restaurant mentality where speed's always important.
Yeah.
And I think that's been ingrained into me. There's times, actually, it was kind of funny when we did the 4th of July event here in town. We were the only truck without a line, and it bothered me for a while until I realized nobody else could serve in under a minute.
You were just too efficient.
Yeah. Well, I do barbecue. So it's already made. I'm just putting it on a bun and serving it out the window, where other guys are short cooking, cooking burgers and deep frying fries and all those things that have 4 and 5 and 6 minute cook times. I don't have any of that. So for me to turn out a box in a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
At 50 an hour, at 50, it's 1 minute per serving. It's not much. You're working fast.
That's fast.
That's fast. Yeah. Plus the handling the money and everything. That's fast.
Yeah. That was with 2 people. So one guy assembling, one person taking money and reading tickets in.
Yeah.
But still, that's pretty quick.
So that's why you would stay like within your boundaries with the family, because it's really hard to find the people that can understand, like work fast with the money, work fast with the food, because otherwise it's lying that you're going to lose, and then you have a certain amount of time that they have like an hour break, and you have to serve them during this hour break.
And not only that, but I mean, in our trailer, 16 foot sounds like a lot, but when you start putting refrigerators and tables in, if you put 3 people in my trailer, it's crowded, and I'm not sure it helps you in efficiency. Mm-hmm. If one person's doing the meat and sandwiches, one person's taking care of money orders and sides, you get a pretty good flow in there where you're not going to move any faster by adding other bodies in. So for us, 2 people in the truck works.
I was about to buy a food trailer actually not long ago, The basic thing, doing hot dogs and burgers and stuff like that. And before I'd buy the trailer, I asked the guy, okay, can I watch you work when you do events, like just to see the flow
Yeah.
and how you. And I learned one thing that it was so obvious, but I didn't even know. He was making burgers, but he wouldn't put any mustard, any relish, any ketchup, nothing. People would put it on the side. So this way it would be 3 times faster and you'd make no errors.
Well, yeah, you don't have to stop and read tickets and figure out what goes on what next. Yeah.
Do-
Streamline it.
Do you do this? Like, do people
I don't
their
have
side or you?
I don't have a lot that is customizable, I guess.
Mhm.
So I carry 2 different sauces. They're on specific items of what they are. For instance, we have kind of a smoky Texas-y sauce. It goes on a beef sandwich with hot links and peppers. So they go together. We always put extra stuff on the side so people don't have to ask for it.
Okay.
But I don't have a lot of condiment type things.
So it's not an issue for you.
Yeah, it's not
For the
really
people
for
that are
us.
listening to us, it can become really an issue.
Yeah.
And try to do that, you'll serve 2-3 times more people.
I think anything you can do in 2
Speed
different
up the
phases.
process.
One, think about every single second of making every item on your truck. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. You build a menu, you think, hey, this would be nice to serve, let's put it out. Not thinking, well, where am I going to put all these ingredients? How are they going to come together? That side of the logistics, I think, gets missed a lot. And then after that, think about literally, how do we serve this and what can I do to make it faster? We used to talk, and I worked for Ruby Tuesday for years. And everything was, if you have to take more than 2 steps to grab it, it's in the wrong place. And I don't think a lot of people think about that, which that's restaurant mentality. And that's why I say, again, if you've never worked in the industry, it may be worth taking 3 months to go work somewhere and figure it out, because you learn those things really quick.
But you've seen the movie, the founder, okay, forget about the food itself, about McDonald's, but the way they studied how everything is placed, and they would draw it on the floor, and just to see the flow, how you're gonna work. Okay, now you have to reach too far. When you're in a small place like a food trailer or a food truck, you have to think about everything, the salt where it's placed, everything.
It was funny, when I was in culinary school, I took a lot of lash out because I worked for Ruby Tuesday, and I worked for Ruby Tuesday for almost 8 years. And people would say, why would you go to culinary school and do all this and be the restaurant manager and go through the chef programs and work for Ruby Tuesday? But if you really want to see how efficient business can be and how good food
to
can
Ruby
get,
Tuesday.
work for a chain restaurant.
Yeah.
They spend millions and millions of dollars just trying to figure out how to be faster, better, fresher. That's what they do. Now, it's not always the best quality food. It's always not the most creative, whatever. But if you want to know how to control labor, cut cost, make things faster, work with less employees, set up menu designs, chain restaurants do that. That's where that comes from.
So that could be a good recommendation if you want to start your food truck or food trailer business. Go to work on one of these chain at least a few months, so 6 months to a year, and learn the efficiency. Yeah, you're right.
Or at least go watch other people do it. I try to support as many friends as I can. It's always funny in this business that we're always working at the same times. But I love going to events and watching other people work. You may learn something that they're doing that might be better. And I think a lot of people, and that's why I say a lot of people get that competitive, I don't want another barbecue truck in my town. I do. I want to go see what they're doing. They're doing something right and they're doing something wrong. If I can watch them for a while, I want to figure out what those are.
When you sell out, you probably were thinking the same way. When you sell out, you'd go to the other truck, the other guy that does barbecue or even ice cream or something different. And you talk to them, you'll study them, how they work, how efficient they are, what kind of publicity they do, what kind of, how they interact with people. And it's important. I think it's the key to learn the business. And it's a kind of business, restaurant business, where you learn every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody got to where they are today by not working for someone else and by not watching someone else.
Yeah.
I didn't learn the things that I know and the things that I'm trying to share with people that that I didn't learn from school or by working in a Ruby Tuesday or a Longhorn or a Red Lobster, all these places that I've built my career around, you take pieces from each one of those, and that's what gives you where you are today. Whether it's a food truck, and I've worked in fast food, I've worked in drive-through service, catering, set down, fine dining, they all have something to offer, even a food truck person.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you study? You study so the other people, like would you go to event to it's I don't think it's spying, it's just learning from the your colleagues. And
Yeah.
what have you learned from the other colleagues that you wouldn't know in your catering or your restaurant business, specifically in this field?
I don't know. I didn't know you were going to ask me for a specific. I don't know.
Because it's a different business.
It is. Yeah, I don't know if I could come up with anything specific. That's a hard question.
Think about it.
I'm always watching stuff. I'm always taking pictures, always looking at menus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for instance, and this isn't maybe the answer to your question, but it's something on my mind right now. So it seems like I've always been, this is my conspiracy theory, and it happens to do with restaurants, that the industry itself forces trends. I think we do it a lot. The pomegranate phase that happened probably 6 years ago, I think, was an industry forced trend. You see them every now and then. Yeah. And I think the one right now is macaroni and cheese.
Absolutely. Avocado.
Suddenly this week.
Mac and cheese.
Avocado was one of them. Probably before the pomegranate. That was a ways back, but yeah. Longhorn just released a promo menu that's got 3 promotions basically of mac and cheese. KFC just came out with theirs, I think, Monday. Chick-fil-A is pushing theirs all of a sudden. So I think there's a lot of this mac and cheese that's being forced into the industry.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all these. And again, we're looking at chain fast food restaurants, but I'm still watching what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we've already started talking, are we going to do a mac and cheese and play in the trend, which I probably will. And then I start thinking, I'm watching every single one that they produce and trying to find out where my niche is that's going to be completely different. And I can't tell you what my thought process on that because some of them may actually come to fruition. But
so it's going to be a smoked mac and cheese.
It could be, yeah. And I haven't decided if I want to do an entree or not. What kind of cheese am I using? Yeah, it may very well not be the cheddar yellow cheese sauce. Mm-hmm. What kind of toppings are we going to do with it? Are we going to do meat with it, or are we going to do something crazy? But that's one of those things where if I'm going to an event right now and somebody's serving mac and cheese, I'm going to see what they're doing. How are they serving it? How are they keeping it hot? How are they keeping the noodles from overcooking? What are they putting in theirs? What are they charging for it? All those kind of things are going to play into what I decide to do on a menu here in the next month or so.
But you know why it's trendy. And I think Greg has the answer.
It is. Well, it can
high margin,
be.
Good profit.
It can be. There's a good chance that when it's put on my truck, it will not be a high margin because it will probably have something crazy in it. It will probably have meat in it, which obviously ruins the profit margin, especially if it's beef. I'll probably overload it with cheese because that's what I do. And dairy is obviously one of your major 3 cost. Anything like that. So I'm probably going to ruin everything about the high margin, but it will be the most amazing mac and cheese that's ever been sold out of a barbecue food truck in Missouri. I can guarantee you that.
So you have a good commentary there from Joseph.
Joseph, you're far too kind, brother. Far too kind. Joseph's another one, very same mentality as me, and we worked together for several years with another chain concept.
So you're really into. Of course, you have to make a profit, but you really thrive on quality. You want to serve to differentiate what you're doing from the other ones. You have to serve quality.
I've spent
to have your touch.
Spent many years selling other people's food.
Yeah.
Once you decide to open that business for yourself, once you decide to build the building, buy the trailer, start the food truck, whatever it is, it's now you. And a lot of these people that are on the chat tonight, a lot of the people who follow us are personal friends, family friends. And it goes back to that Southern mentality. You're cooking for the people you love, so put your pride and joy into it.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of guy that if you come to my truck and you don't like what I served you, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna find something you like. We're gonna stop the
how
problem.
do you handle those clients?
I don't deal with a lot of them. And I think, and I don't say that like I send them away. I say we just don't have those. And I think a lot of it is because we take pride and we do the quality. I've always been, and this is one of my things from when I managed restaurants, I'm a proactive person, not a reactive person.
Yeah.
If I put the time and the pride in the food and we build it the way it's supposed to be built and we sell it the way it's supposed to be sold, we shouldn't have to fix those issues. If you
but
shortcut,
sometimes
sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, when things go wrong, you fix it, whatever you can do. If it's replacing the meal, if it's returning the money, leaving the meal, whatever the situation's right. You can't afford to lose guests in this environment of restaurants that we're in.
No.
Whether you're the small guy, whether you're the big guy, it doesn't matter.
It's a battle for every client.
It is. And you're in a nickel and dime business, as we've said before. So you need a returning guest.
Because on the one hand, you're nickel and dime, but on the other hand, if the client is not happy, it's a free meal. You understand how you have to deal with it, because
it's a full swing, not just losing the nickel. You're losing a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, especially in the truck, when you come to my truck, you're going to see me. You're going to buy food from me. It's me. It's not, you walk into a restaurant every day and you're buying food from a server who's just trying to make some money, from a cook who just needed some hours, or a health insurance plan, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
When you come to my truck, you're buying my product from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a vulnerability there that has to be acknowledged for a small business owner.
Vulnerability, but it's also your force.
Yeah,
it's your strength. I have Greg here who's asking something as a French
OBR.
guy. What's OBR? What's an OBR?
I will plug OBR a bit if you don't mind. So most people know Joplin around the world from our tornado in 2011. With major disaster, one of the largest tornadoes that has ever happened in the continental United States, if not history. We used to compete a lot in barbecue when I was growing up. And after that happened, a couple phone calls were made with some guys in Kansas City that wanted to do something and didn't really know what we were going to do, but we wanted to do something. And what ended up happening was several barbecue cooks, competition cooks, all teamed up and just started cooking meat. Pulled pork shoulders, whatever we could find, chicken thighs, all kinds of stuff, and giving them out to first responders, people who had lost everything, people who had no meal, whatever. No questions asked. If you needed a hot meal, we had one. It actually ended up becoming a full 501c3 in all 50 states. I believe they may have been to Canada by now. But basically every time there's a natural disaster, a network of barbecue cooks throughout the entire United States rally together to serve meals to those in need. Wow. And that's what OBR is. It's Operation Barbecue Relief. Okay. If you have the means, feel free to donate. Basically every dollar that you donate provides a meal for someone. And yes, Greg, I've done OBR a couple events. I haven't deployed a lot lately because I'm busy trying to run a restaurant, catering facility, work full time, and do all the crazy things that I do. But I helped with Joplin here. We were part of the Moore deployment shortly after that. I've been to Greenfield, a lot of areas. But yep, I'm an OBR guy. Still wear the old bracelet.
I have Mark here. I've been waiting my option, really leaning toward a trailer. I have a bakery. What are your thoughts? All
right. So you have a bakery, I'm assuming, by that is up and running. I don't know. Can we talk to Mark? Just by comments? We have to wait, kind of delay. So there's two trains of thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've talked to a couple people that have had this idea. Personally, and this is completely my own opinion, and I'm not a baker or anything like that. I don't run a bakery at all. Personally, trying to bake in a food truck or trailer, I think, is the craziest idea I could possibly have. But if you have a bakery and you're just vending, like, you're going to get up at 4 a.m. and bake all these baked goods and then go sell them somewhere else, I think the trailer is your best option. if you're planning on baking in the transport device and you need ovens and that kind of stuff, I'd probably go truck. And I think it's easier to do trucks if you have to have propane, liquid petroleum, natural gas, whatever we're using. Because if you're running a double deck true bakery oven in a trailer, I don't think you could possibly carry enough generators to run all that.
Oh.
And that would not bake in the trailer. There it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go trailer. There's no reason to buy the truck. You don't need hoods. You don't need fire suppression. You need a couple sinks and some tables to work out of.
Unless, because that's what I was doing, because before I had my the cafe here, the bistro, I had a bakery. So, but to keep the brand on the road and in the area doing events, I'd cook donuts, because donuts are easy to make on the premise, and you have the smell and everything. Yeah. So then it can make sense. But to make bread and everything, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Oh, he wants a showcase.
I think you could still do that in a trailer. You may need to find somebody that could do the trailer for you. You may need something customized in that area. But I don't see why you couldn't. I've seen a lot of trailers that have been built out just as much as food trucks are, with lights and display boards and shelves and coolers in the side of them and all kinds. I mean, there's no difference in the shell of a truck and the shell of a trailer. The only difference is if you're driving or not. And the reason I say to do a truck, if you have to have propane and all those things, if you put 200-pound tanks of propane on the back of a trailer, that has to be counterweighted somehow in the front. Where a truck, you've got some balance with the engine and some other components that are going to keep that better. So unless, and there's sometimes I'd rather have propane on a trailer too, but you're going to have to talk with somebody that does that side of it. But if you're just vending out of it and you don't need that much equipment, we're talking about some tables. I don't know why you couldn't cut a showcase into the front with some kind of awning that overhung it to protect it while you're driving. I think it could be done.
A showcase, and you can have a refrigerated if you want to have pastries and stuff like that. You see that many times, and because I have a Facebook group where you can they have like ads to buy and sell food trucks and food trailers, and you have lots of those Chinese trucks and trailer, mainly trailers, because those trucks you cannot put on the road in America, but those trailers that are really, really beautiful, because they do that in China and in Middle East and in places like that. They would sell pastries and in those kind of trailers with you'd have a big awning and it's refrigerated and
I couldn't believe that you couldn't take a trailer. This is gonna be crazy, but I have some crazy thoughts because I'm that kind of person. That you couldn't take a trailer and underneath your support for your window or your awning, replacing that bottom piece of aluminum and plywood or whatever your trailer's made out of
glass
with a Lexan, some sort of a plexi, and putting your showcase behind it, and probably would work great.
Absolutely.
But I think again, that's if you're not a welder, fabricator, machinist, talk to somebody that does that, and I'm sure that could be done. But I would say trailer.
I'm dialing pastry trailer because I saw many of these on the internet. Actually, here you go.
You might be the only person that has it easier than the barbecue guy. Selling bakery goods out of a trailer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my next future. No.
Yeah.
I'm not. I already have to get up at 5. I can't get up at 3 and bake.
No, it's going to be crazy. So I think it's a good idea, but try the. If I were you, I'd try the Donut Avenue. Because you can have like something, I don't know.
My problem, if I did the Donut Avenue, I would just eat all the donuts. It's hard enough not eating all the barbecue.
And you have something like this here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it. Or a trailer. You'd see that's it. Something like this. And you can make it. I know in China they will make them. But then again, I'd rather have an American-made trailer to put on the road. But if it's you're looking for something,
I wonder what it costs to ship a trailer from China.
Actually, it's not too expensive, but
Is
not
it
only
not?
that. It's all relative to the price you're paying. But yeah, to have a trailer like yours, would cost you like 2,000-3,000 shipping. But then
That's
again,
not too bad.
if you buy something with the equipment, then instead of buying something at 25 grand, you'll buy it at 10 plus the shipping in China. But it's okay. Do you want to deal with China? I know it's a big political issue now.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, then again, it's your choice, guys. But anyways, most of what we have here in North America comes from China, so
Yeah.
we have to deal with it. So yeah,
That's your other show, right? We're not going to get into that.
yeah, it's my political show. So you guys, if you have any other question before we close the show, to our friend Jaron. One second, I'm gonna go to the chat now. Yeah, we're planning to have this show maybe once a week, and if you guys have any suggestion, just send me a message, and I'll listen to you. And Jaron, where can we find you in the next few weeks? Where are you going to be? So you have the football season.
So football
starting,
starts this Thursday for the local Division II college. We
what
will
college
be
are you're going to be?
Missouri Southern State University.
Okay.
The Lions kick off Thursday. We do cater all their press box meals for the season. So that's 5 games. We also tailgate. So if your friends of ours stop by, we'll have a huge tailgate party. I do have 2 events that the food truck will be at Southern. That's on September 21st and October 5th, 3 hours before kickoff, as well as we do a lot of post-game meals for visiting teams and the Lions every now and then. Yes, Mark, I will send you a link on where I ordered mine. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do what you want to do, but I'll send it to you either way. Other than that, we try to stay Fridays at 15th and Main here in Joplin, where they're at least 11 to 2. Some days are later than that. Every Friday that Joplin High School here local has a home game, will be open until 7 p.m. at that spot. So 11 to 7 on all home game dates for the high school. Most Saturdays that we're not at Lion football, we will also be at 15th and Main, and those are from 11 to 3 at least, if not longer. You can always find us on Twitter, Instagram, and most of all, Facebook. Every day that we go out, every day we have an event that's posted on social media on all 3 of those. We have a CulverCreek trading company on Facebook. That's the easiest way to find us. The YouTube video that Jeff mentioned is in its infancy right now. It's very basic, sharing videos for a lot of food truck kind of ideas. So if you're in the food truck market or trying to learn or whatever, feel free to catch us over there. We try to post a video every Thursday on just a tip or trick or a thought about the food truck industry. It will grow. There's going to be some product reviews with different grills, smokers, thermometers, those kind of things. And then some cooking recipes. We're planning tailgate videos for all the home games with some recipes, a wing of the week, some entrees, some stuff like that will be on there. So we'll try to get that channel a little more to the general public as well as the food truck public. So lots of ways to find me, lots of ways to contact me. Social media is the king right now. So it's only getting bigger.
Yeah. So hey, Jaron, that was a first. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Really, thank you for having me, and anytime.
All right, and you guys, especially Mark and Greg, if you want to have a look, the page I was talking about was this one. It's called Food Truck Concession Trailers Food Cart for Sale. That's actually a nice one, a coffee truck. Go there. I'm the owner of this group, and there's a lot of posting there. A lot of people, you can ask for exactly what you want. I know I have a lot of people from China, from South America, actually, lots of trailer they build in Mexico, and of course lots in the US. And hope you guys can find what you're looking for. And Jaron, thanks again, and Absolutely. All of you guys, thank you, and you have a good night. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.